Hey, today we are talking turning 50, nagging foot pain, and what is really wrong with Diet Cokes. Hey, welcome to episode 3 of Ask Avenu, and as always, we're taking your questions here, health, fitness, anything type of, what's it like to walk a mile in our shoes as trainers? What's it been like here over the past couple of days in Winterfest and no power and no electricity? How have we ate healthy, which a few of you have already asked me about it, and how have we kept fit throughout these times? So our encouragement to you, as always, just send in your questions, social media, through emails, just hashtag there with the Ask Avenu, and we will get to them. As we said, we're getting into today about turning 50, what's changing in our body, what's to do about that nagging foot pain, and then lastly, what is really truly wrong with Diet Coke. You're not going to want to miss it. I completely feel your pain. I suffered that, and I still suffer from it on a regular basis here on. First off, rolling your foot, yes, is going to be super important. If you tuned in last week here to episode 2, Keith might be able to throw it up here into the picture in this one. You see that kind of rolling the foot underneath the foot there. Take your shoe off there, roll your foot there. A good minute on one side and then a good minute onto the other side. That's going to release all the muscle, all the tension, everything, all the fascia that's in kind of gunked up underneath our foot there, and just give you this just kind of relaxing feel. Especially on the female side, you wear a lot of different shoes. Sometimes they're flat shoes, sometimes they're sandals, sometimes they're high heels, sometimes there's cushion in them, and like all that stuff does is just kind of mess with the bottom of your foot there. So rolling the feet, yes, it's going to do tremendous, I think, benefits in the short term, but long term, that doesn't solve the problem. You have to go, okay, well, what is truly causing that problem? Without really knowing and kind of looking at you here, what I could imagine, if you're a lot like myself here, is you have a lot of tightness into the hip. And that hip, when that hip is tight, it causes the foot to either turn out or to turn in. And when that foot turns out and turns in, it's just like all the wear and tear on your tire. If they're overinflated or underinflated, you start to get the wear on the outside or the wear on the inside of it all there. And you got to slow down. Hey, let's go get the tire, make sure that it's balanced out there. And the same thing goes for your hips. If you saw last week, again, in episode 2 here, we'll kind of put a little picture in it, the world's greatest stretch. That is the simplest thing that you can do to kind of loosen up the hips without getting too technical with you there. So again, my 2 recommendations are roll the foot first, and then drop into that world's greatest stretch, 10 reps there on each side, and it will not start to do wonders, I think, like straight away, but over time, consistently. If you're doing this day in, day out there, just do it a little bit in the morning, do it a little bit in the evening. When you're brushing your teeth, roll your feet. When you're late in bed, right before you go to bed there, do 10 of the world's greatest stretch, and I promise you it'll start helping those feet feel a lot better. Hey, just to let you know, life isn't over at 50, right? There is still a lot of runway out in front of you. I always tell my kids I'm going to 120. Am I going to get there? No, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take care of myself in the best I possibly can to extend that runway for me, that I'm as healthy as I can possibly be. I don't want to just get to the end and say, oh, you know what, that was a good run, I need to throw everything in the bag just because I turned 50. I'm going to say, no. I'm going to say, what can I possibly do to continue to keep myself in good health, thriving health, that I can enjoy those golden years, if you will. So you do need to understand, hey, yes, there is a point in time that when you get around your 50s and 60s that the muscle does start to kind of like, go away, if you will, waste away if you don't do anything about it. But this is just to let you know that cardiovascular fitness, so to say, is super important. It is there. We need it to keep the ticker ticking. But more importantly, we need to make sure that we're building the muscle and continuing to keep that muscle that we have on our body through lifting weight, through things that challenge us, through resistance, through gravity working down with us if you just want to do body weight, through grabbing heavy things, to jumping into Pilates classes on reformers that have springs on them that add that resistance to your body so you can develop and keep the strength that you need to, like I said, ride off into the sunset here on this long runway that you have out in front of you there. So don't get discouraged. Just look at it and say, hey, it's a new challenge, it's a new stage of life, and what can you do to make sure that you thrive throughout these next 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ahead of you? Love when I get this question. Why? Because it's just like somebody wants to ask this question so they can pick a fight. Like they're looking for someone just to have a little bit of a verbal challenge kind of back and forth with. It's like telling people, you know what, you need to stop smoking. And then they're like, okay, well, convince me the reason why. It's like, I don't need to convince you the reason why. There's enough research out there that you've seen before, you've heard about it, like you know all the ins about it. My encouragement to you is to do this. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Okay, what do I want my health to look like long term? Like from now today till as far out in the future as you can possibly see. Then you ask yourself a second question. Okay, where does Diet Coke fit into this equation? And if you can say, hey, you know what, look, it justifies everything here. It is important for me to have this on a regular basis. I've looked through everything. I've done all the research, and you know what? There's nothing that's going to convince me that it is ill will for my health. Drink it up, enjoy it, sip on it. I mean, whatever it is, you want to chug them, however it is, you keep a whole case of them in the back seat of your car. I know who you are, those of you that do that. And then you got to look at this and say, the last question here for you on this one is you say, okay, well, what's behind your decision? What is behind you saying, hey, look, this is where my health, this is where I want to go with my health. This is the reason why that I feel Diet Coke should be included into it, right? And then just wrestle with that, and sit on it. And if you can justify it to yourself, because nothing I'm going to say is going to change your mind. This is something that's going to have to come from you, looking into it a little bit more and saying, okay, what are the expectations I hold for myself and my health into the future? So that's it for the solo episode 3. That's it. You just got me all 3 questions today here and everything. Everybody else is a little too busy kind of with the Winterfest that came through and kind of disrupted the whole work week for everybody here. So hope that wasn't too bad. You're just getting nothing but me for these last 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes there. But I want to close this out with encouraging you to send in your questions. Pass this video along to anybody who's been wrestling with stuff, these same type of questions that you've heard coming from them, or if they have a pressing question that you're like, man, you should just ask Brent, you should just ask Avenu. Send it over to them. Encourage them to send it in to me. It does not matter if they're a client or not. We're going to get it into the queue and we'll get an answer for you here soon. Yeah, so tune in next week and we'll see you then.